Steve Dotto here. How the heck you doing this fine day? Me? I'm struggling to catch up, as I imagine you are struggling to catch up as well. What I'm struggling with today is Instagram Stories, which is ever so similar to Snapchat Stories as to be an identical twin brother or sister. Now, if you are interested in just seeing a demo on how Instagram Stories works, I encourage you to leap forward in this video to the time code which I'm putting up here so that you can and skip my introduction, because I'm about to rant for just a few seconds, if you would be so kind as to humor me. Here's what's happening. Snapchat has grown in popularity because of a couple of factors. First and foremost, Snapchat is a really interesting tool that allows an intimate conversation, often in video, between two individuals. But Snapchat also has a one-to-many functionality through something called Snapchat Stories, where you record a series of little either still shots or 10-second video clips, string them together into some form of narrative. Now, the cool thing is that it lasts for 24 hours, so it basically takes your day and encapsulates it. And a lot of people share some very valuable and insightful content in that day, and a lot of people share a lot of crap in that day. It depends on who you're following. But Snapchat kind of holds very near to their soul a few things. First of all, they don't give the people who are publishing content a lot of feedback on the people that are viewing the content. You can see raw numbers of how many people there are viewing you, but you can't really market to them. You can't talk to them in any other way except through the Snapchat platform. So they kind of close the community. The other thing Snapchat does is they make it very difficult to use their application. Now, they will probably deny it, but if the truth be known, it is a quirky application that it almost takes a serious commitment to figure out. And the people who do figure out Snapchat kind of lord it over the rest of us because they've figured it out, whereas the rest of us just kind of look at them quizzically. And I believe that's part of the appeal, is there's a certain elitism to Snapchat, which says that, I figured it out, you haven't, nah, you're not as smart as me. That's my opinion. Enter Instagram. Now, Instagram is now owned by Facebook, which has never been shy at stealing other people's best ideas. It's part of what Facebook is, sometimes successfully, sometimes catastrophically. Having said that, Instagram has been viewing, now owned by Facebook, has been viewing the success of Snapchat with a wee bit of jealousy, and they've decided that they're going to incorporate some of Snapchat's functionality into Instagram. Now, normally when software companies do this, they try and mask the fact that they're basically ripping somebody else off, but not so in this particular case. Instagram might as well call this Snapgram. Yeah, that's it, Snapgram, because it is virtually identical to the snaps to the stories in Snapchat. They're little 10-second clips. Now, what happens is instead of viewing them in your main Instagram feed, you view them in your Instagram homepage. So there's a slightly different place that you view these stories, and they've added, I think, a nice layer of making it easier to access. It's not as quirky, for lack of a better term, for either both posting and for viewing. Now, because I am okay in Instagram, but I've got a good friend who is phenomenal in Instagram and actually has been very successful in Snapchat as well, Sue B. Zimmerman, I'm going to get Sue to jump on with us in just a few seconds and walk us through Snap Stories. So today on Snap Stories, I call it's Instagram Stories. See, it's going to take us some time, isn't it? So let's do that intro again. So today on Dotto Tech, Instagram Stories. Sue B. Zimmerman, the Instagram expert. What in the world is going on with Snapchat and Instagram Stories?
Well, Steve, all my dreams came true. I now can do what I've been doing on Snapchat on Instagram, and it's pretty darn exciting.
Well, let's dive into it right away, and then we can talk a little bit about the social networking aspects of it in a minute. But first of all, does everybody have access to Instagram Stories in Instagram? Like, is it launched platform-wide right now?
I think it is. I mean, I don't know anyone who doesn't have it as of now. We're like 4 days into the announcement, but everyone that I have been talking to and seeing on Instagram has the stories now.
Okay, so I'm taking a look at my Instagram feed, and I'm at my home button on Instagram, and I guess this new bar across the top of our news feed, of our Instagram feed, that's where the Snap Stories live. Am I correct?
Yes, that's where your story lives and all the stories of those that you've chosen to follow on Instagram who have active stories going on.
So right now, it's whoever is publishing stories in Instagram is going to appear here. So there's no curation on Instagram, which is kind of harkens back to Instagram's style of doing things, which is whoever you're following, you're going to get an unfettered feed from them.
Exactly. And you see that rainbow ring around their face?
Yes.
So you can access it like you just explained in the home button. But Steve, if you are scrolling through your news feed, which where all the posts and the photos and the videos are that you follow, and if you see that somebody has a rainbow ring around their avatar, that means that they have an active Instagram story. So you can also click in right from an Instagram profile.
Now I'm a little bit confused because I've just scrolled down and I'm on a post by you where you posted the beach at Martha's Vineyard and the Instagram expert, and I can't see in your profile there that you've got a halo. But if I tap on you, if I go into this post itself, let me just go in. If I tap on you, if I tap on you and go into your profile, I see the rainbow there.
So the rainbow signifies a post that was recently made that you haven't viewed yet.
Okay, got it.
So you've probably viewed some of mine before, and I haven't posted one recently. So every time a new post clip gets posted, it turns that brighter rainbow ring.
Yeah, got it. So here's one of the things that I like most about this. Now, I haven't actually posted yet, so you're going to walk me through that in a moment. But as far as viewing other people's content, I see right here, I see Ian Anderson Gray, and then Jen, and then Leslie Samuel. We've got a series of posts here. If I tap on any one of these, up comes their story, and I find it's a lot easier to navigate through. So talk me through the process. So I've got Ian's story running right now.
So Ian's story's running, and if you want to quickly run through it, just like in Snapchat, you can tap it to go forward, or you
and that jumps me to the next story or to the next module or chapter in his story. Okay.
Exactly, to the next clip. And then if you tap to the right, if you swipe to the right, it will take you to the next clip, or if you swipe back to the left, you can go backwards. Or Steve, you can do what I did when I made dinner the other night. I just put my phone down and I turned on Instagram stories, and it continuously takes you from one story to the next of all the people that you're following.
Jen's showing our dog, and Ian's just talking, but he's got the wet head is not dead with Ian Anderson Gray right now. Okay, so this is how we view, and I like this. I find this a lot more intuitive than Snapchat. And it's not destructive, right? Like we can go back and we can view it again and we can view it again. What's the life cycle of these posts?
Same. It's 24 hours, and you can save your clip to your camera roll, just like you can in Snapchat. You can save your memories. What you can't do in Instagram that you can do in Snapchat is save your whole story.
Okay.
So there's no beginning or end. Each clip dissolves in 24 hours. So there's a whole fear of missing out.
So yeah, so they've got that instant, that kind of you want to be part of the moment, which is nice. Now there's not much now as far as interacting with the video. I'm watching Ian's video here. If I want to send him a message, I guess I just tap on the send message. Now how does that message arrive to Ian?
In his Instagram direct message. So you can either send a text message or you could send a video message back, and Ian will see it in his DM box. So to access that, Steve, you tap on the home button on the far left on the bottom, and you'll see that filing cabinet at the top. And if you have any notifications that have come into your direct message, you will see that.
Okay.
I currently, I don't know if you can see this, but I have a 2 at the top of mine right here.
Okay.
So that means that I have 2 new direct messages.
Yeah, I've just got my message box open. So I'm going to your feed here, to the Subi Zimmerman feed, and I just saw a video of you and Cody. I'm navigating my way through. I'm going back to you, Sue.
Okay.
You can't see it. Sue's Golden Rule playing right now. So the only other thing that I can do as far as interacting is if you see inappropriate content, I guess you can report it by hitting on the 3 dots, right?
Yes.
Now there's no way for me to save your content to my camera roll, is there?
There is no way to save it. The other thing I want to mention, Steve, is that you can hide certain people from seeing your story. So if you don't want someone on Instagram to be viewing what you're showing publicly, you can hide certain accounts.
Oh, okay, very cool. So let's get now into the creation of a Instagram story ourselves. So let me show you how you go about creating your own stories. Now, the easiest way is to just click on that little plus button at the very top. When you click there, you're brought into the Instagram camera, which will allow you to record your video if it's a video clip you want to record. All you do is click on that little record button, the little white button in the bottom, and you have to click and hold it for the length of time as you're recording, a maximum of 10 seconds. So by clicking and holding, you get to record your interesting conversation up to 10 seconds long, and then when you release the button, the video is ready for you to do some more with. So you see it replay for you automatically. Now we can dress it up a little bit. We can add text to it, which is awesome, amazing stuff. And you once you've done that, you can position this text anywhere. There's just the one font style, but you can zoom it in and out like this. And you can also add colors. Now, I like the pens. They've got neon pens and regular colored pens. And what you can do is you select a color and you select something that's going to look awesome. And then you can kind of paint. Now, this is the neon one. You can kind of paint in, around, and behind. So I'm going to choose that color there. And then I'm going to choose this color here to kind of paint behind a little bit. So you can see that you can kind of create a nice little additional, some kind of almost like some branding or some nice commentary to it. By clicking on done, that will save it. There is one other thing that we can do by tapping on the screen and swiping to the right. Oops, I'm in the pen mode, sorry. Let me undo that. There we go, say done. Now by tapping and swiping, we can add filters. Now it's not as advanced as the filters that you find, you know, as far as like replacing your face with a dog's tongue and that sort of stuff, as you're going to find in Snapchat. Although you can save those videos to the camera roll and then import them if you choose. But that will allow you to add some basic filters here using the filter tool. The other thing that you can do, and once you click on the check mark, then it uploads it. You can use the download button at any point to save this back to your camera roll. You can also incorporate photos. Let me just take a photo. Boom. I took a photo. That's a terrible photo. Cancel that. Well, that's a much better photo. You can also take photos and you can upload those. And if you want to take any photos that you've taken, if you've taken a series of photos and you want to upload them, or videos, if you swipe down, if you swipe down, cancel. If you swipe down when you're in the record mode, that brings you into your camera roll. You don't have access to all of your photos, only any images or videos that you've taken in the last 24 hours, because they want this to be very instant and very kind of spontaneous. So you don't have access to your old images, just to your current ones. So that's how you create content for your Instagram story account. Once that's all said and done, you can take a look at your story. You can tap into your story. You can see it. If you decide that you're unhappy with anything at any point, which I would be unhappy with this, you can delete the video. You can save it. You can share it as a post, which will then go into your main Instagram feed. But I'm going to delete that. There we go. Just because it's really not all that.
Steve, does this mean that you're going to actually do Instagram now?
No, don't be ridiculous. I might do a little bit more. I like this. You know, so this is great, Sue. You've walked me through it, and I think we've covered off the basic things so people can get started. But let's talk a little bit about the interaction and what you're going to expect from this as far as interacting with your community. So where is this going to sit as far as the social networking firmament goes?
Okay, so first of all, yes, I like what you just said. I've had more engagement through Instagram stories than anything else I've done either on Snapchat or Instagram in just 3 days. Also, I'm able to look at my insights, and anyone who has an Instagram business account, you can look at your insights, and when you look at your insights on Instagram, last week I had an impression of over 32,000, Steve, and this week, in just the 3 days since it's launched, 65,000 impressions.
Now, this could be the convention bump, though. This is the beginning of people kind of looking at it and starting it out. So you've spent a lot of time using Snapchat for engagement. Is it going to be easier for you to engage your audience in Instagram, using Instagram stories, than it was doing the same narrative, the same content in Snapchat?
Yeah, so I've decided that I'm not going to completely abandon Snapchat. I'm just going to be spending less time there. I'll probably do 3 or 4 snaps because there are certainly people there that are diehard Snapchatters. But on Instagram, now I have strategies around content to curate that will complement and add value to my Instagram feed. And this is really what I want to stress with anyone listening, is that you really need to make sure whatever stories you're creating, that it's cohesive with your business and your brand and your values, and that so that there's not a disconnect, because people will unfollow you on Instagram if they're not getting that warm and fuzzy vibe that they got on your feed to begin with, the reason that they chose to follow you. So you really need to make sure that it's going to connect nicely to and add value to your Instagram content.
Yeah, I mean, if we walk through, you know, the how this media works, there's a tremendous intimacy to using Instagram stories or using Snapchat stories for that matter. People are watching it on their phone. It's in a very personal space, and it is not broadcast in the same way as, say, this YouTube video that we're publishing right now is broadcast, which is designed to be a kind of a more sterilized atmosphere in YouTube being broadcast. There's a tremendous intimacy. You're expecting people to respond, and there, as you say, there's also a very short time frame that people can access it in. So it's far more about interpersonal communications than any sort of broadcast or any sort of publishing of content.
Exactly, Steve. Plus, the intimacy. This is the word that I really want to highlight. The intimacy of being able to connect with your favorite businesses, people, and brands. You now have a channel to actually do that.
So scale of 1 to 10, how hard is Snapchat to learn?
I think 9.5 to 10 for most people.
Scale of 1 to 10, how hard is Instagram stories to learn?
2 to 3.
There we go. Sue B. Zimmerman. That's all the time we have for today's show. I hope that you found it valuable and you learned a lot. And big thanks to Sue B. Zimmerman for all of her assistance. Now, there's 3 ways for you to stay in touch with us here on Dottotech. The first is please subscribe to this channel. And secondly, subscribe to our newsletter. That way you hear about all of our upcoming live events and tutorials. And finally, Dottotech is a community-funded channel supported through the generosity of you folks at the crowdfunding site Patreon. I encourage you to drop by our Patreon page, take a look, and determine exactly what perks are available to supporters of Dottotech, because those perks be awesome. Till next time, I'm Steve Dotto. Have fun storming the castle.